We're going to do something new. Somebody said Stanley Cup, right?
Looks like it, yeah.
Exactly right. Probably breaking a Graceworks rule by putting this in front of me, but I'm going to do it. Okay, so I think I'm going to take the blame for this one. I think this idea, again, this is about originally came from being a little bit selfish. I felt like you know, when you're president of the chapter, it's such an amazing thing to be, in some ways, asked by your colleagues to lead for a short time. And I can't think of a better compliment than that. I really can't, short of something that my parents might tell me. So I take this job very seriously. I took it very seriously and also tried to have fun with it. And one of the things that grew out of that very early on was I thought, you know, I want to honor somebody. You know, I want to be able to say, you did amazing stuff. Not just when I was president, but I watched you when I was, you know, so-and-so, when I was a new member all the way through. And then it got me thinking, it might be really interesting if we created an award that was unique to each sitting president. So you got the cup. And what the Presidential Cup for Outstanding Service, and this is the inaugural version of this award, there are specific criteria that's going to change from year to year. So what it is for me this year might be different for Sarah, and might be different for the next president, and on and on. But the idea is to come up with, each president to come up with their own criteria for outstanding service. So here's what I did. I thought, I want to find, well, let me back up for a second. I'm a big baseball fan. And I'm sure everybody knows what the Hall of Fame is. In the Hall of Fame, there are fantastic players. You might call them the best of the best. Being the baseball nerd that I am, I do a lot of reading about it. It's kind of a very romantic sport. History is very rich, it's very numbers oriented. And some baseball writers talk about the inner circle of Hall of Famers. Willie Mays, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, the giants of the game. Giants of the game. So it got me thinking, who's our elite of the elite? So that's where I started. I also wanted to think about the spectrum. It needed to be within my own time. I've been a member for 10 years. So I started as a participant, and then became a contributor, and a volunteer, et cetera, et cetera. So that 10-year span. And then I wanted to look for the specific contributions. They needed to be substantial, and they needed to be dynamic. One thing that I learned about when I was at PLS about a year ago, that I heard from my counterparts, that I heard from national board, that I heard from national staff, was everything that we do needs to be about membership value. We're a nonprofit, and we're a professional development organization. We're here to, in the end, we're here to further the development of our own people, of one another. And so everything that this person did, in my estimation, needed to provide that tremendous value. And finally, I was looking for somebody that wasn't necessarily looking for or had never sought the spotlight. So who would that person be? Can we switch to the next one? Let's take a break for a second. Let's talk about some numbers. When I thought of who embodied all of that, I started to think, well, now I gotta prove it. I gotta prove it to myself. How do I do that? So I needed to go back and dig into the numbers. Probably a little bit of my baseball geekdom, but I needed to dig into the numbers. And this is what I came up with. Sorry, let's go to the next one. What I found was $300,000 in meaningful revenue. Meaningful revenue. We're a nonprofit. We're not here to make money, but we're here to bring it in and to figure out what can we do next week. And honestly, the more that we get, the more that we can do for all of us. An example is paying for keynote speakers. That's a big expense. I don't think people here, and I didn't understand until I went to PLS a year ago, understand how different we are here in New York, because we have these amazing resources and these amazing people who help us get there, that we can pay X number of dollars. for a keynote speaker. It doesn't exist elsewhere. It only exists where chapters band together and do a regional conference. So this person generated $300,000 in net meaningful revenue. 1,500 people over this person's span attended the programs associated with that revenue. 1,500 people. You can draw a direct line from this person to those people. That's a tremendous number for a single chapter, I assure you. Out of that, 130 of those hours, not networking, not the time that was put in to get it going, the discussion at the committee level, the deciding and the voting and the board factor, the pure educational portion, 130 hours of education. Oh, and networking. I said not networking, but and networking. That's the value that it brings to the individual for professional development on the education side, and the value to our firms in networking with one another. Next. There were 10 years of chapter service. This person gave 10 years of their time at a high level. Next. 7 of those were as a board member. 7 years as a board member, dedicated. Next. That's right, Lauren, you're number 1. And one lasting legacy. And what is that legacy in particular? It's education. And particularly out of education, the marketing event. TME is not just an amazing event. It's one day a year for professional development and education and networking. And a place for our sponsors, like Mike Ryan, to come and tell us about their services and allow us to grow. This is the envy of the entire society. I'm not joking with you. I had no idea. The national board members, I've had 3 of them, just in the short time that I've been president-elect and president. 3 of them say, I want to present at TME. National board members who can go anywhere. There are other chapters who have mimicked the full day scenario. Nobody has done what Lauren has done with TME, which is to create a legacy of an individual event that generates meaningful revenue, that brings in people from all over the country, sometimes as far away as San Diego, to participate as sponsors, to participate as attendees, and to participate as speakers. And so Lauren is leaving the board. She actually isn't here tonight, unfortunately, but Lauren is leaving the board, and she's leaving us, all of us, with something very, very special. And I hope the next time that you see Lauren, just say thank you, because she has never come out and said, I've done this and I've done that and I've generated these things. Never. She'll talk about it if you ask her. A little bit reluctant, but do that for me. Just tell her thank you. So what we're going to do with this cup is we're going to engrave Lauren's name on it. Wish you were here, we make her drink out of it, but we're gonna engrave Lauren's name on it. The idea for this cup is for this to live on. This is a living award, and each year the next recipient's name will be engraved on it, and they'll get to keep it for a year. And my hope is that in years to come, it'll fill up with names, and it'll be a way to look back and appreciate amazing people like Lauren here who have made amazing contributions to our chapter. So, give her a round of applause. Accepting on behalf of Lauren, is Sarah off.
Hey, thank you. I wanted to say something snarky on Lauren's behalf, but I feel like that kind of picture doesn't. I really have nothing to say other than yeah, that's Lauren. She's amazing. Having been a co-director with her on the communications committee and her being director of communications now, a lot of what she does is behind the scenes, but quite frankly, the chapter, is really going to miss her.